Hi everybody, welcome back to Gen Con. We're doing another interview with two people from New Age Geeks. We are here with...
I'm Domiano. I'm COO, co-owner, and cast member of New Age Geeks.
And I'm Cece. I am a cast member as well as a showrunner.
And you're also the DM, are you not, Cece?
Yes, I am one of the DMs for one of our shows. I run Queer and Present Danger, a homebrew high fantasy D&D campaign with an all-queer cast.
There was something I read on your profile of your Twitter profile saying that you were trying to help people's mental health, and can you expound upon that a little bit?
Yeah, I know for me personally that D&D and TTRPGs in general are a great way of, kind of like almost a coping mechanism, or a way to sort of distract yourself from that kind of situation. I know of a few people who actually use D&D, and they're therapists, and they utilize D&D to help heal and sort of learn more about the people that they're with. So mental health is a big thing for me, and I know D&D has helped me a lot surrounding that. So definitely want to help where I can.
Dom, was D&D part of your healthcare journey, your mental health care journey?
I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons for about 15 years now. When we founded the company, we knew we wanted to be an inclusive space, but we also wanted it to be part of a self-exploration thing where you explore the things going on in yourself in a fantastic way where you can remove yourself from it. So it's not necessarily as impactful when you explore things like fears or anxieties or stressors. And that helps us heal from our own mental health issues while also exemplifying others. This can be done. This can be a tool you can use and do it in your own way, in a safe way, but still help you heal and grow and connect with people who share some of the same things.
Do you collectively, when you're playing, do you express those needs through the mechanics? Do you have mechanics special built, or do you use things like a session 0 to kind of establish a baseline and then do you build your games around the things you want to work with, or they're just things that you know are gonna be there?
So I know for me, I do a session 0 with all of my players where we sort of run through the baseline rules, things that we're okay with, things that we're not okay with, and then also stuff we want to explore. And then also after every session, I touch base with my players. I'm like, how are you feeling? How are you doing? Is there something you want less of, something you want more of? So it's just maintaining that communication with your players. Like
a stars and wishes kind of thing, but a little deeper.
Yeah, and it's also just a big thing. I want to ensure that my players are having fun. And then also, if they're going through a rough time in their life, I'll understand if they need to take a step back from the table, or we obviously can't control what happens to us in life. So I'm just you take care of you first. I will still be here.
So what forms of safety tools do you use when you're playing?
We mainly will talk to each other through Discord messages, saying you okay with this? You not okay with this?
Nice.
Although I do want to implement using the X cards. So if everyone had a post-it note where we're just nope, no go. So I'm going to be working that into my game shortly.
We also have frequent check-ins. We have multiple chats running on the side while we stream our games.
Nice.
Again, like you said, the session 0 was a huge support in terms of saying, hey, I want to explore this, I don't want to explore that. There are a number of different ways we check in with each other as well.
Do you always have the sriracha sauce when you're feeling spicy?
It's funny, I keep a bottle of sriracha on my desk, so.
So what's going on in your latest campaign, and how far along are you in it?
So in Queer and Present Danger, we're less than 20 episodes into it, but they are very thick into the storyline. There's somebody or a group of people that is attacking the gods and what tethers them to the material plane. So a god gave a vision to the characters saying hey, we need you all to help stop this because otherwise we won't be here anymore. And then in our main game, Forging Fates, we're over 50 episodes in.
Yeah.
So we're pretty into the thick of it right now, where it's constantly go, 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 trying to stop end of the world, and while also dealing with character like relationships and like characters' mental health as well. So we're sort of playing with that in Forging Fates.
So what are the things you love about the other players in the game?
The other players in which game? Because we have 3 actual plays going, and we have...
Do you have a favorite? That's not a fair question.
Yes, obviously.
Okay, so in that game, tell me the things you love about the other players in the game, like what you love playing about them with.
In Queer and Present Danger, I'm one of the cast members. I get to play a 12-year-old turtle wizard.
Okay.
And we have another character who is also a 12-year-old child. And the two of us are just chaos incarnate. And getting to roleplay, yes, and just improv our way through chaos and confusion. Somehow still stumble through the right things. It's fun to just trust your fellow players and just know that no matter what we do, we trust each other enough to bounce it back. And if there are issues with what we're doing, they will deflect it and say, all right, yes, but take this in a different direction. And we know, okay, we're going that way now. And Cece has been great about GMing for those chaotic characters, and it's just been...
So do you trust the chaotic character in-game?
Absolutely,
Okay.
100%.
Because not everybody trusts a chaotic character.
Listen, I'm a push the red button kind of player.
Okay.
Well, and it's just that thing where it's like, as a DM, like I have my serious moments where like I want them to follow like, hey, I want you in this general area. I will take the chaos that they cause, utilize it, and send it right back to them. So I'm like, okay, you want to mess around, you're gonna find out. Like, so.
How much prep do you do for each session?
It honestly depends. So I'm a very busy person. I work 3 jobs and I'm in school. So whenever I have, usually in our off weeks, I'll do a few hours of prep. But I have also gone into sessions with nothing prepared. So it's all dependent on time. Yeah.
Oh, they didn't know that. Oh my gosh, the big reveal.
We have built in 2 weeks, right? So it's every other week for Queer and Present Danger that we air the show live. But that's primarily because Cece has been so busy. So we know they need that prep time. But same thing for Spell Shots, which is another one of our shows. It's every other week for the prep time. And our Forging Fates, which is our flagship show. Thank you.
Plugging the merch.
We have that just about every week on Mondays, except for once a month we'll throw in a different show. But that one is with a different GM. It's Joe, our CEO. He's able to have a little more time built in to prepare. But
So what would you say is the conceit of each of the three shows you run? Like, what is the premise that you're trying to build from for each of the 3?
So Forging Fates is built in the Critical Role world, Exandria.
Okay.
And it takes place after Vox Machina has done their thing. We are fighting the return of the Titan Primordials. So that chaos and that end of the world sort of vibe is where that one is going. Spell Shots is a bunch of one-shots that take place in a overarching storyline with some recurring characters, some guest characters, and we're actually about to wrap up the first arc of that particular show. And where would you say the trajectory is going for Queer and Present Danger?
So for Queer and Present Danger, it's just a lot of investigation right now into this overarching storyline. I'm trying not to say too much because spoilers.
You're still playing.
But yeah, it's a lot of investigation and trying to figure out. So in my world, the pantheon, the gods, have anchors, which are like physical items that could be as small as a grain small as a grain of sand, up to possibly entire cities that help keep the gods like present in the material plane.
Write that down.
So they have recently found out about a bunch of anchors and where some of them are located, and so they're trying to currently plan out where they are headed. So they have a bunch of different like paths they can take. It's just making decisions.
What levels are the 3 games running at?
So in Forging Fates, we are at level 10 right now. I'm unaware of spell shots.
I'm not sure about spell shots either.
Because we have another DM. We basically host spell shots on our channel.
Okay.
Our co-star Jem, she is a part of that.
She's also our co-owner.
And another co-owner, yes. And QPD, they're at level 5 right now. So.
How long do you plan on going? Do you like the level 10 one? It's set in Exandria.
Yeah.
Do you plan on going all the way to level 20, or
we're going as long as the story takes us?
And how far do you feel the story? Are you DM that one?
I don't. That's our CEO, Joe.
Joe DMs. Okay. So you don't know how far you are in the story.
When we founded the channel, we talked about it a bit. He wants to just go until it's done. Okay. Whenever it finds its natural end. So level 20, beyond that, who knows?
How long's it been running?
About 2 years now.
2 years. So do you... And in yours, you're at level 5.
Yes.
And it's really built around mystery. So it's more, is it more, would you say it's more narrative, or do you still use a lot of like heavy mechanic stuff going on in it?
I would say it's heavily narrative. We utilize mechanics. Combat is not a super common occurrence. It happens like maybe once every couple of sessions, but whatever that combat would be is also a part of the storyline. Like I'm not just going to throw a random monster unless they're like traveling for 2 weeks and they roll something on an encounter table. But yeah, it's primarily narrative and role playing.
What are some of the best moments you remember from all 3 of the campaigns, actually?
The one that comes to the top of my head is from QPD. One of our characters is a warlock multiclass, but she heard a voice in the back of her head where this thing was telling her to throw a rock. And so she threw the rock, and through the butterfly effect or snowball effect, she threw the rock, it hit the side of a carriage, startled a horse, and then the horse started running. And then the player cast sleep on the horse. So causing the horse to come to a stop, flip the carriage, knocks a torch off of a post, and sets a temple on fire. And then, while that character is going to run to go help put out the fire, Toby, the 12-year-old turtle wizard, was just like, no, wait, hold on. Runs back into the tavern being like, hey, we were outside burying the rat, and now the temple's on fire. That is one of my favorite moments from QPD so far.
And it's hard to make an effect like that work in-game. Like, to pull off a good butterfly effect thing, it's tremendous GMing and play and player action.
Yeah.
Between the natural ones, the panic of our co-star Rima, and just the yes and of Cece here, it was a perfect storm of just beautiful chaos. I loved that. That's my choice too for the favorites.
Nat 20 or Nat 1?
Nat 1s I find to be funnier.
I find Nat 1s to be more compelling in terms of storyline. Fail forward is sort of a beautiful way to look at that. I'm all for bad stats, bad rolls. Like if I roll stats for a character and I've got a 6 for one of them, I'm taking it. Like let's go.
Take it and run with it.
-4 to intelligence. All right, yeah, let's go. Absolutely. But yeah, fail forward.
Yeah, agreed. I think most GMs would agree. I'd say it's 50-50 on characters, on players. I think a lot of players are like, oh no, I don't want those ones. Not with my GM.
I mean, like, natural 20s do always call for, like, some epic moments, or, like, even just, like, a natural 20 on, like, an insight check, and you're like, oh, shit. Like, it's often, like, you do need, like, those higher rolls to help you move along in some spots, like, especially if it's, like, a perception or investigation check. But the nat ones are always super funny. Or
what do you think in the games you are not running, what are the strengths of the GMs or the GMs running them?
With Joe, the plot line is really cool. I really enjoy because he has a homebrew magic item that is imperative to this storyline, and just the building of it. It's called the Omega Blade, and so there's 6 pieces to it. Each piece of it is made from part of a primordial, one of those Titan primordials. So there's a death blade, a life blade, and then, like, air, water, earth, and fire. And they all come with their own, like, abilities, which is super cool. So we only have encountered 2 of them so far. So we are on the hunt for the rest of them.
We've encountered 4.
Encountered 4, only have 2. So currently chasing
a 5th.
One of them.
We're chasing the 5th one.
Yes.
I would also say that Joe's ability to balance combat and narrative all in one session, regardless of where we are, what we're doing, he's able to say, I wasn't prepared for a combat session, but we're doing it because you made it happen, so here you go. Whereas Cece is able to yes and with narrative better, I would say Joe is able to balance combat better. It's not that the other is bad at either, but it's just that's where their specialty is.
Yeah, I think certain GMs sort of lean into things that they really love more.
Yeah.
So that's just where you end up.
Well, and I guess QPD, so Queer and Present Danger, is my first long-term D&D game that I am running. I've run one-shots in the past, and I was just like, I wanted to take that step forward and do a long-term campaign. So it's a learning process for sure. So,
what's been your biggest lesson that you've learned?
Oh God!
Don't give a 12-year-old coffee.
Yeah. Well, because I think it was the second session where this group stole a bag of holding off of somebody, and inside of it he had a bottle of endless coffee, and the 12-year-old has it. So, but again, it's made for some funny moments.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, like the jar of mayonnaise. It will be weird. Whatever happens, it will be weird.
Yeah.
Nobody makes a sandwich with it, though.
But also, one thing that I love is because, like, I am not shy with magical items. I homebrew a lot of magic items, and just the creative ways that my players utilize these, and, like, just also getting, like, that glimpse of how their brain works of, like, oh, wait, I have this? I have a potion of climbing? I don't need to walk back upstairs. I can climb up the side of the tower. So...
Yeah.
Strictly D&D from here out?
No, not even. We have the show that we have once a month.
Goodberry Cafe.
Second Monday of every month, Goodberry Cafe. Jem is the showrunner for that one. She will explore different tabletop RPGs every episode. Right? We'll bring in a cast that has never been on before, a whole group of people that we've never played with, and they'll learn the game there and then. It's currently on hiatus for the summer, but when we come back, we've got a whole bunch of people who are looking to get in on that with us, and a whole bunch of games we want to try out.
Yeah. I know personally I do want to expand into other systems eventually, because, like, D&D 5e is definitely, like, that comfort system. I know how it works. I can always go back to it. But another reason I come to Gen Con is to see what else is out there. Like, I've got a bunch of, like, solo RPGs. I plan on stopping by the Chaosium and picking up some Call of Cthulhu. So I definitely would like to expand more on that on the channel for sure.
Do you lean into horror much in any of your games? Because you're talking about Call of Cthulhu, which is very much Eldritch horror.
Yeah, I'm very into like the horror RPGs or TTRPGs. 2 years ago, actually, when we were up, we met up in New York to go to the New York Renaissance Fair. So there was a few of us there. One of our friends, Adam, he ran a game of Dread, and it was so much fun. It was just like I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. I got so into it. So stressful. But then again, it's a Jenga tower, and I was sitting on the floor next to the Jenga tower, so I'm like, if this falls, I'm getting hit. But it was great.
I think Forging Fates has recently taken a bit of a horror turn in a sort of just squeamish, uncomfortable sort of way, exploring Cece's character's backstory, where it introduced Starspawn to our game.
So telepathic bugs.
Yeah. But it also introduced a lot of family-based trauma and sort of a Coraline-esque exploration of manipulation and
I never looked at it that way.
Yeah, it is.
Just a fun fact. I'm terrified of Coraline. I have not watched the movie since it's come out. But
so
it's amazing.
I made that parallel immediately, and knowing that you didn't feel fondly towards Coraline, I never said it out loud, but we have recently taken steps into a horror aspect, but not really a theme of it throughout. But
you know
I
you've
think
gone
we've
into it too far if you have buttons for eyes by the end.
See, that's what they were trying to do. They were like, we want you to have buttons for eyes, and I'm like, no.
Thank you, but no.
Thank you, but no.
How long have you known each other? And where did you meet?
We met for casting calls for Forging Fates.
Yeah, so
it's
like
about
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Because casting was in like February of 22.
Sure. I know exactly when that happened.
Joe, the CEO, he put out like a casting call on a D&D Facebook group, and I'm sitting here like, yeah, absolutely, I would love to do that. So I joined the server and like started talking with everybody, and it was a really fun.
Is that where all of the players came from? Was through a group like that, or did you do castings of your own?
Founding two members were Joe and Donald, and the two of them have known each other for years. They've grown up together. They're best friends. They started New Age Geeks because Joe's name was Arrogant Geek online, and Donald's name was New Age Knight. So they put the two together and formed the company New Age Geeks. And then from there, we all met each other through the Forging Fates, and then as the company grew, Jem and I took up the mantle of co-owner with Donald and Joe. And we took on Cece as a showrunner. We have Taz as our social media manager. Love Taz. We also have Jeremy running spell shots and all the guests that come in.
That's what it sounded like.
And Joe also does Investigation Check, which is an interview show, much like this, where we bring in people from the tabletop community and just ask them about their experiences.
Yeah, I have plans on reaching out because I want to do a story talk on running interview shows.
I think that'd
with
be
all
great.
the people
That'd
doing
be
interviews.
awesome, yeah. But then like also casting for QPD, we literally just posted it on like our Instagram or Twitter, on TikTok, and we were just like, we want you. We want to play D&D with you guys.
Yeah.
And so that was fun. And then the audition process was like, everybody was like split up into groups, and I ran the same one shot for each group, and Joe did the same thing for Forging Fates, where it was one storyline for each one shot. It's all the same, but like for both Forging Fates and QPD, I never got the same ending twice. So it really like tests like how players are able to improvise, thinking on the spot, and just sort of how they interact with the other players at the table.
Yeah,
so
that's a good way to engage players and find out who they really are, and maybe see how they act with the other players. Because
yeah,
when you're casting, you're rarely casting for one. You're casting for multiples, and you want to see how they work together.
Yeah, we want people that are going to be able to vibe with each other. We don't want people who are going to be like hogging the spotlight or talking over each other, because I know that, well, and it's difficult to do that online.
Yeah.
Where, oh, I was going to say something, were you going to say something? Like that.
We do still have that issue, but it's
holding back is a skill.
It's better to have people who are willing to share the space better than people who are trying to talk over each other and competitively trying to win the game or win the storyline instead of sharing the space and saying, all right, I just talked, you go. You just talked, may I go? Right? Like, instead of demanding the space, just sharing it.
So what's next for New Age Geeks?
Getting through Gen Con.
Yeah, getting through this weekend. I know I start up school again, so more busy. But I know once my schedule settles down for good, I want to regularly host either one-shots or mini-series in the server. I think that would be a fun project and another great way to interact with people from our community. We're hey, I'm running this one-shot. Would you guys be interested? So definitely a lot more community outreach.
I was going to say, we've made a lot of connections this year at Gen Con.
Oh,
so following up on everybody that we've interacted with over the last couple of days, bringing them onto the interview show, bringing them in as guests, one-shots, you name it, just having another show maybe. Just we have a lot of projects we can work on, a lot of people we want to work with. So just following up on all those connections we've made over the last couple of days would really be ideal.
Well, smartly, you've built a team that has certain tasks so that not everybody's having to do everything all the time. That's kind of a beautiful thing. Did I actually... Everybody is actually doing everything?
No, it's just I've recently discovered that I'm great at talking to people.
You didn't know that?
Well, I've never done networking before. And then, so we went to an event on Thursday. And then most of New Age Geeks was there was an event last night as well. And I was nonstop talking for almost 6 hours. But I'm sitting here everybody here, we all have something in common. I know I'm able to talk to you.
Yeah.
So.
Cece has turned out to be the best asset when going out to these events. Because people see her, they're like, oh,
you're tall and have green hair. Hi.
Hard to miss, wonderful to talk to, knows what she's talking about, and just has a way to connect with everybody, and it's really benefited us lately.
Well, I want to thank you for taking a few minutes to spend with me to talk about this. I wish the rest of the group was here. I would love to meet all of you one time in one place. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
I'm sorry I'm sitting so low without a chair around your Gen Con.
No, you're good. Seating is sparse. So this is a lot of fun.
Thank you. And have a great Gen Con. I hope you meet a whole lot more people, talk for 6 more hours.
Thank you.
Control a little bit of your spending.
I just want to say I'm lucky that I still have a voice today.
I'm not so lucky, but I look forward to an interview on interviews, perhaps.